I don't like Elon Musk. I'm going to say it 50,000 times. I don't like him. I don't like that he going out there and he firing people. I think that he's a crook because somehow the rest of us can't sit around and get whatever federal contracts we want. The rest of us can't sit around and get law enforcement and get them somehow ordained as federal law enforcement to protect him. The rest of us can't get our dealerships protected by the federal government. That is somebody that is operating above the law. For whatever reason, just because he has a lot of money, more money than everybody else. And yes, I am happy to see that on my birthday, which is what I said, there were peaceful protests around this world against him because he is a problem.
Well, buckle up, folks, because Elon Musk just did what Elon Musk does best. Charged headfirst into a disaster like a Tesla on autopilot, eyes closed, hands off the wheel, and a brick wall labeled accountability waiting at the end. And yes, it went exactly how you think it did. Spectacularly, hilariously wrong. Elon Musk got cooked so hard on live TV, SpaceX tried to launch him into low Earth orbit just to cool him off. Jasmine Crockett didn't just criticize him.
We've heard a lot about the fact that Democrats have been talking about Elon Musk. And let me give you a news alert. We're not gonna stop talking about him. We're gonna keep talking about him until he is out of here. Now, if he wants to be elected or appointed and confirmed to something, then so be it. But as of right now, we have somebody that for whatever reason, I don't know if y'all just trying to play in our face because you think we're stupid, or if you literally just cannot see the difference in a George Soros and a Bill Gates. But let me give you a little bit of the difference. Number one, George Soros nor Bill Gates ever somehow decided to turn off the spigot of money that was going through to various organizations and agencies to the extent that it had actually been ordered by law that they should have access to it, to the extent that people are dying.
Now, let's see America's favorite rocket man, equal parts billionaire, meme gremlin, and self-proclaimed savior of civilization, thought it would be a brilliant idea to inject himself into political discourse again. Because apparently, running Tesla, SpaceX, X, and digging literal holes into the earth wasn't keeping him busy enough. So naturally, he figured, why not show up and grace the public with my unchecked confidence and a PowerPoint full of vibes? Genius.
If you could speak directly to Elon Musk, what would you say?
F off.
That's it.
And when you bring up the idiot known as Elon Musk, he is not only like very sinister and has no idea what he's doing, and people are like, oh no, he absolutely knows because he's the richest man in the world. Like, yes, he knows how to hire smart people, but don't conflate that and believe that he is the genius, because he ain't. But let me tell you something. We really don't know how much damage they're causing. Like, when I tell you that the level of incompetence is almost like incomprehensible, it is so bad.
And there he was, standing, or more accurately, flailing on live television, trying to explain the nuance of complex issues with all the clarity of a magic 8-ball on low battery. Enter Jasmine Crockett, who showed up with the energy of a courtroom cross-examination and the delivery of a stand-up comic who skipped coffee and went straight to vengeance. Crockett didn't obliterate Elon Musk. She reverse-engineered his entire existence and drop-shipped his credibility to the nearest black hole. Every smug attempt he made to sound profound was greeted with a rhetorical slap so hard it reset his Neuralink. You could almost see the binary code leaking from his ears as he tried to reboot mid-sentence.
My question is, Elon, what have you done besides tear us apart, besides be in over your head, besides make sure that you continue to enrich yourself so that not only you can continue to be the richest person in the world, but you can make sure that other people that are already struggling, unfortunately, end up falling on even harder times.
So, Congresswoman, when was that? And he asked you, the person asked you, what would you say if you could speak directly to Elon Musk? And I love your response. And
Started off calm, composed, and razor sharp. Meanwhile, Elon tried his usual tactic. Say something pseudo-intellectual, pause dramatically, wait for applause that never arrives, and then pivot to a buzzword salad with a side of libertarian dressing. Unfortunately for him, Crockett was having none of it. She dissected his arguments like a high school biology student with a frog and a grudge.
That I keep it short, but I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down.
The best part? Elon looked genuinely flabbergasted, as if he'd walked into a room expecting a red carpet and instead found himself strapped to a spit at a verbal barbecue. And spoiler alert, he was the main course. This is a guy who spent years cocooned in echo chambers filled with yes men, tech bros high on their own IPAs, and a cult of Dogecoin disciples ready to worship anything with a rocket emoji. So when someone actually challenged his ego, ignoring his sprawling portfolio, his army of Twitter followers, and his charming habit of naming kids like futuristic Wi-Fi networks, Elon basically short-circuited. His reaction was less Silicon Valley genius and more confused robot rebooting mid-selfie. You could almost see the little error message pop up above his head. 404. Humility not found. Watching him try to handle real criticism was like watching a toddler figure out that the cookie jar is empty. Equal parts hilarious and tragic, with a dash of, please, someone save him. And let's talk about the content of this beautiful televised takedown.
Level of incompetence is almost incomprehensible. When you bring up the idiot known as Elon Musk, has no idea what he's doing, and people are like, oh no, he absolutely knows, because he's the richest man in the world. Yes, he knows how to hire smart people, but don't conflate that and believe that he is the genius, because he ain't. Even Trump don't want to talk about it. When the last time you heard about Elon? He continues to have these failing ratings, so now they're like, oh, get rid of Elon. The stench ain't getting off of you, Trump. Honey, you are a problem, he is a problem, Pete is a problem, all of y'all a problem.
Now, Crockett wasn't just casually tossing shade like a bored cat knocking stuff off a shelf. She came armed with a verbal wrecking ball and a filing cabinet of receipts. While Elon attempted to derail the conversation with his usual buzzword salad, free speech, innovation, Mars or bust, Crockett stayed locked in like a sarcasm-powered missile. She didn't just critique, she autopsied his mess. From the Hunger Games-style mass layoffs that would make even Scrooge McDuck say, damn, chill, to transforming Twitter into a digital panic room for tinfoil hat enthusiasts and crypto bros, she exposed the full circus. It wasn't a debate. It was a verbal eviction notice from reality.
In a sham, and as I laid out, another payday for Elon Musk, because we know that if there is any government welfare to be handed out, it is consistently being handed out to Elon Musk, who stopped all the money to USAID and various other organizations that depend on that money, while at the same time deciding that he would somehow get another contract for over $300 million authorized for a company that he's overseeing, while he's also allegedly rooting out waste.
At one point, you could almost hear Elon's internal processor start smoking like a laptop left in the sun. This wasn't some friendly back-and-forth debate. It was a full-on one-sided masterclass in owning your own contradictions, and Elon was the unwitting cautionary tale. Jasmine Crockett basically took him on a guided tour through the tangled jungle of his tweets and PR stunts, dragging him across the coals of his own nonsense with surgical precision. The vibe was clear. You claim to be the fearless champion of free speech, she seemed to say, but only if the microphones are in the hands of billionaires with rocket ships and electric cars. Let a regular person utter a truth that bruises your fragile ego, though, and suddenly it's the apocalypse of canceled culture.
If you are trying to conduct audits and figure out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is, I don't know why you would go to some tech guy. In fact, it was only techies that were sitting there at inauguration. We didn't have auditors. I would welcome auditors to come in and do forensic audits. In fact, he sat there in the Oval Office yesterday and he admitted that he was lying, and he was using his propaganda machine to do it when he said that we sent millions of dollars to Gaza for condoms. That was a lie. So let me tell you something.
The gentlelady's time has expired.
It's time for
the
us
gentlelady's
to do our
time has
jobs
expired.
and rein in this rogue actor known
The gentlelady's
as
time
Musk.
has
Elon's face probably went through more expressions than a Tesla dashboard. Confused, defensive, and wait, what? His digital empire of free speech suddenly looked less like a fortress and more like a house of cards in a hurricane. The irony? Rich guy's freedom of speech is apparently a VIP club, and the rest of us are stuck in the lobby. And let's not forget the facial expressions. There was squinting, there was blinking, there was the unmistakable look of a man realizing that maybe, just maybe, he shouldn't have shown up without a legal team, a crisis PR manager, and several backup AI assistants whispering rebuttals into his AirPods.
Then in the first few days of Doge existing, we know that they are trying to get rid of the Department of Education, USAID, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They're laying off FAA workers. They are going after the FDA, the CDC, the HHS, the FBI agents, and they're talking about getting rid of FEMA. And they brought y'all in. And I am going to say that I actually was shocked that there was only one person that seemed like he was an overt Trumper as you laid out your opening remarks, because I anticipated that at least one of y'all would say, yes, what Elon is doing is exactly what we would prescribe. But instead, I will applaud you because you actually were focused.
What Jasmine Crockett did wasn't just a clapback, it was a TED Talk in public accountability. She took a man who believes he's above reproach and grounded him harder than a SpaceX prototype after a budget cut. And while Elon tried to deflect, pivot, and distract with his usual Martian monologues, Crockett brought it right back to Earth with the precision of a political sniper. Every time Elon tried to wiggle out of the spotlight, dropping buzzwords like decentralization and AI ethics like they were magical shields, it was like watching a toddler put a Band-Aid on a broken leg. Jasmine Crockett wasn't having it.
You know, the lack of cohesiveness on that side is why this has been the most unproductive Congress. People all over X and everything is like, well, they don't deserve anything. They're so unproductive. Let me tell you, the people that y'all keep putting in charge are the reason that we are unproductive, because they don't understand how to govern. And honestly, they don't even have a will to govern. And the fact that they are allowing somebody who basically is a shadow president to come out and tell them what to do, including Donald Trump, because listen, we know that Elon, as they have touted about how they need to get rid of the immigrants, let me be clear, Elon cannot become president of the United States because he is an immigrant.
With the surgical precision of a master chef slicing through a bad idea, with cold, hard facts like throwing verbal ice cubes at a sweating billionaire, and with the kind of energy reserved for someone who's been itching for years to say aloud what everyone else was too polite or too scared to admit. Elon Musk isn't some misunderstood visionary or tech messiah. No, he's basically a chaos vending machine, spitting out wild ideas and Twitter storms with the smug confidence of a billionaire who's convinced his bank balance grants him immunity from criticism. Meanwhile, Musk's loyal fans scrambled online like caffeinated squirrels, desperately trying to spin what they'd just seen. Media bias, out-of-context clips, Mercury is in retrograde. Anything to avoid facing the blistering truth. And there stood Jasmine Crockett, cool as a cucumber in a sauna, going viral for doing what few dare, speaking truth to absurdity while walking away unscathed from the tech bro backlash. Her edges sharp, her wit sharper, and Elon? Well, he's still probably rebooting his ego somewhere in Silicon Valley.
That this guy thinks that he can go in and send out an email to the entire federal government and have everyone report to him, when at the same time they're saying that he has no authority, is bewildering to me. But I'm going to tell you who also has shocked me. Some of the leaders of these organizations that have said, we are not going to relinquish our duties. We understand our jobs. We understand that these people report to us and they don't report to Musk. And so with that, I do want to applaud anybody that at this moment has the audacity to actually do what they were either elected to do or do exactly what they are paid to do.
This moment wasn't just television gold, it was a public service announcement wrapped in pure, unfiltered reality. While Elon Musk spends his days trying to rewrite the internet's playbook in his own image, complete with tweets that look like they were crafted by a caffeinated AI, Jasmine Crockett stepped up and reminded everyone that real power isn't measured in billions, memes, or Martian daydreams. No, true power comes from knowing your facts, standing firm, and calling out nonsense when it saunters in wearing a black turtleneck and muttering something about Dogecoin like it's the second coming. And let's take a moment to savor the delicious irony here. One of the richest men on Earth, a guy who casually launches rockets for fun and names children after Wi-Fi passwords, got completely grounded by a congresswoman rocking heels, a sharp blazer, and an attitude screaming, "Try me." It's like watching a cosmic game of David versus Goliath, but instead of a sling, she's armed with razor-sharp wit and zero tolerance for tech bro tantrums. This is exactly the kind of karmic justice the internet and humanity desperately needed. So grab your popcorn, folks, because when billionaires meet truth tellers, the sparks fly and the laughs are guaranteed. Now, let's fast forward a bit. After the verbal carnage, the fallout was finger-licking delicious. Elon's devoted digital minions, also known as the Brotherhood of the Blockchain Basement, tried to mount a counteroffensive. But let's be honest, when your fearless leader just got verbally body-slammed with the grace of a toddler in roller skates, your comeback options are limited. They took to Twitter, or whatever it's called this week, X, Y, or Zeta Prime, screaming about censorship, media manipulation, and of course, the always reliable boogeyman, the deep state. But none of it landed. Not a single bite. Because here's the kicker. Crockett didn't need to yell, insult, or start a conspiracy theory about lizard people running the Wi-Fi. She just showed up with receipts, logic, and the kind of confidence that makes tech bros spontaneously combust. She didn't go after Elon the man. She went after Elon the myth, the misunderstood genius, the free speech savior, the wannabe Martian overlord. And when that shiny, self-made illusion cracked like an overcooked creme brulee, what remained wasn't a visionary. It was a guy with Wi-Fi issues, an ego complex, and a fan base that suddenly looked like they were having second thoughts mid-retweet. Meanwhile, Crockett, she ascended. Twitter lit up like a Christmas tree. Memes exploded. Edits of her roast session set to epic battle music started circulating within hours. Gen Z crowned her queen. Millennials took notes. Boomers raised a toast. And Elon? Well, he probably went back to pretending X is still the future of civilization, while quietly updating his block list and drafting a 3 a.m. tweet blaming woke mobs and Saturn's gravitational field for his public collapse. It's honestly impressive how consistently Musk manages to be his own worst enemy. He shows up, says too much, pretends it's genius, and then cries foul when someone with an actual backbone calls him out. Crockett just did it better than anyone ever has. On live TV, with the precision of a courtroom assassin and the flair of a reality TV legend. In the end, what Jasmine Crockett gave us wasn't just a moment. It was a reminder that charisma is not intelligence, that wealth is not wisdom, and that no amount of Dogecoin, rocket fuel, or weird baby names will protect you from getting roasted when you decide to act like the smartest guy in the room, without realizing the room includes Jasmine Crockett. So here's to Crockett, the congressional queen who gave Elon Musk the verbal spanking the internet didn't know it needed. And here's to Elon, bravely recovering somewhere, probably drafting another tweet with his thumbs, furiously misspelling something about censorship while his AI butler offers emotional support. Meanwhile, the rest of us will be watching the replay again and again and again.